Today we're interviewing one of Columbia County's special citizens, and it's July the 13th, 2005, and his name is Jay Rayburn. I want to ask him about where he was born, and how long he stayed in his home, and something about his folks' farming.
Well, I was born in Dayton, September the 8th, 1919, and I was born on Mount Pleasant. It's now Jasper Mountain, but they called it Mount Pleasant at that time. And I spent all 8 grades up there before I come out for high school. Folks had just an average little hillbilly place, made a living. I grew up in the sticks.
What did they raise? What was the main crop?
At that time, it was wheat and spring crop, barley or oats. But and then later years, the pea company came in, the Green Giant, and at that time it was Sloan, and they raised peas and in spring crop many times, and interchanged with the winter wheat. And
I understand you have a picture of your school, Mount Pleasant.
yes, I have one that shows a picture of the school, and when folks got older and moved into town, we finally had the old house tore down where I was raised, and in the papers that were found was the original deed to the Mount Pleasant School, to the land and the building, and I brought that in, and Elizabeth Carson has that on file at the library now, that original deed, the whole transaction.
That's great.
And Granddad Rayburn was one of the original directors when the school was set up, and Dad was on the board at one time, and I was on the board later years. And
when the school closed, Jay was one of the board members. I think that's quite a history.
Granddad started it and I closed it.
Now, your parents' home was handed down to them from your grandfather?
Yes.
So it wasn't that they bought a new track or anything?
No. That is a original homestead, yes.
Yes, so they got it from your grandfather got it from the government to start with.
Part of it, and part of it he bought, but part of it he did. There was 80 acres that he did file on, and the rest of it he bought.
And I understand that, well, anyway, some of my family used to go hunting, and your mother cooked pies and I don't know what else, and
just
sold them to hunters when they
just
went
coffee
by?
and pie, and that's the way she made her painting money for paints. It was through that system. And then she was diabetic, and she never knew what a pie tasted like. Dad and I was the guinea pigs, and we enjoyed it every minute. We was sad when she finally gave it up. But no, I won't say how many years, but 8 or 9 years she was known as a pie lady, and the hunters would stop by and have pie and coffee. And
did she sell whole pies to them if they wanted it?
No, they always just take a piece.
Just take a piece. And your mother was an artist, I understand?
Yeah, she did painting, and her specialty, to my way of thinking, was flowers. She was better, I thought, on flowers than on animals or structures. That
And you have two beautiful pictures here that your mother's done, one here on the wall and one over here on the wall.
yes, they. That's the last of them. The rest of them was all given to the grandkids, and when
Are there any in art galleries downtown?
I don't think so.
The depot or anything like that?
I don't think so. I don't know. If there was, I didn't know. They all went to the kids. If there's any, was she had them in there before
Before she
before
passed
I
away.
broke it up.
Uh-huh.
That's a photograph of it in the corner.
Oh. Yeah.
Now that a home or a school?
That's the home.
That's the home.
That's the home there.
It
And,
looks nice.
Yes.
It we were just a quarter of a mile away from the school, and so 90% of the teachers all boarded with us at different times, and so it's interesting.
One time I remember hearing that Juanita Hubbs Harding stayed with you
Yeah, she was there.
in the later years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now how many children were in the school when you were going?
They varied, but generally there was from 12 to 14 in that area there somewhere, as a general rule.
And so you were close enough to the school that you just could have walked just a short distance.
Mm-hmm.
I understand sometimes too that the snow was way up to here.
That high. No, some of them had to come. There was one family that come about 1.5 miles to school, and they would leave their horse in our barn there in the wintertime, and so it got deep. Yeah, the snow would one year got so deep that I skied over the top of the fence in the yard there, going in the garden, and skied right over the top of it.
I think you mentioned at one time too that some children over on Whiskey Creek, they combined their school with yours and they had to walk a long ways to get to your school.
Yeah, it happened to be the other way around.
Oh,
We
okay.
were part of the Darden School, and it was in Walla Walla County, and they had enough kids in our area so that they started school in our area, and that history that of the deed and so forth is all on record up at the library up here in town.
I've been thinking about, since I went to Columbia School, which is the first district in Columbia County, how did you get to high school? You certainly didn't ride a horse all the way.
No, in high school, well, we moved down 2 winters. The first winter I went to Waitsburg, and the next winter I went to Dayton, and then we moved down on the bus route until
There was a bus at that time?
There was in 33, 4, in there, yeah, there was a bus.
And where did you move down to?
Where Gerald Hawks lives now, on Bundy Hollow. And at that time, Claude Broadhead was a bus driver at that time. And
He filled the bus up before he started. Didn't he have 7 children?
he had a family.
It was 7 or 8 anyway.
Yeah.
When you got to high school, you were a cheerleader, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any pictures of when you were a cheerleader? I've
They're
seen-
all distributed amongst the
I've seen one
family.
somewhere with your white shirt on with the letter D on it.
Yeah, bulldog on the
Who
front
was?
of it.
Do you know? Can you remember who the other two were? Were there three of you?
There generally was three. I'll not try and remember. I don't.
And back in the 40s,
I graduated in 36.
66. Back in the 40s, there was a junior farm bureau down there that we all belonged to.
Mm-hmm. The Columbia School was a meeting place for the whole community, and the Farm Bureau, they had units all over the county. I think there was 6 units, I believe there was. But anyway, then they would have plays, and older folks had their play, and then the younger folks, then they had their play. They'd take it around to different places and put it on, have lots of fun.
I'm going to say they used to go out to Star, I know, and then one time my mother and dad in a play went down someplace around Walla Walla.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just local that they went around. They went around to.
One time we put it on at the Veterans Hospital down at Walla Walla, and there was Turner and Star and Smith Hollow. There was
Huntsville.
Yeah.
What did the Junior Farm Bureau do itself?
Not too much in itself, no. Just the kids stayed out of mischief.
I thought we got into mischief. We had a couple of escapades, didn't we?
Oh, well.
Were you the one with the car with the rumble seat, or was that one somebody else? You had one with the rumble seat?
No, there was another person that owned it, and I just had the use of the
it?
rumble seat. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think one time 2 carloads of us went up to Pullman. Roy Eslick took us up to Pullman just to look around on the campus, and one of the cars broke down. Were you in that bunch?
No, I wasn't in that bunch, but they one incident that didn't take place, thank goodness. I was in one of the plays, and I had to have a suit. I didn't have one, so I borrowed my brother-in-law's suit. And so somebody, and I never knew who it was, they slipped a pair of panties into the hip pocket. They was hoping that I'd have to blow my nose in the play, but it didn't happen, and I never knew that until I'd taken it home and they taken it up to get it cleaned. Here these pair of panties showed up. So I lucked out there.
I know there was you, Jimmy Armstrong, Kenneth Broadhead, Lanita and Frida Broadhead, Nisa Elwell, wasn't she with us? And a Fletcher, Eugene Fletcher.
The different times they was there, yes. Yeah.
So it did keep us all together. So if anybody did something crazy, everybody had to take the blame. I know that.
Yeah. It was good, honest, clean fun. Now that's all there was to it. It was just.
We used to go down to State Park, I know, and have picnics and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And other than going naked in the creek, we didn't do anything bad, did we?
We didn't do any skinny dipping. No, we stayed.
We stayed good. Okay. Now, can you tell us any more about your folks' place or that area? Who has your place? You sold and came and lived here,
Yeah,
where we are today.
Yeah, there was. In my boys, there was. They all went in different directions. A computer technician or mechanics or whatnot. until there wasn't anybody to follow up. So I was the end of the farmers, and so I sold the property to Jerry Webster, and then retired with Alma.
That's a little romance in itself, isn't it? After your spouses
Well,
died, why then you met at church?
Yeah. We both going to the same church, and I knew the minister from previous time, and I visited with him quite often, and he asked me one time, he said, well, have you ever thought about having a date? I said something about it was kind of monotonous going out alone to eat, and I said, no, I hadn't really thought anything about it. And he said, well, there's one lady in church that liked Chinese food, and maybe she'd be interested in going. And I said, well, I don't know. I'd think about it. And so a month or so later, I told him, well, all right, so he introduced me to, well, he didn't introduce me. It was a blind date. He told me who it was, and I called her on the phone and made a date with her. And so it was in September, and I had one tomato that was just ripening up. And I told her, well, when I come in, I'd bring her my first tomato. And so I couldn't find anything to put it on but a little paper
Doily type thing.
doily type thing, and what did they have on it? Santa Claus. So here I come and bring this tomato in, and then she didn't know what I looked like, and I didn't know what she looked like, and it was it was 80-year-old people on a blind date. Now, that was something else.
I thought it was great. The whole town was abuzz with their love and happiness, and it gave those of us at our tender age hope and the future and all that kind of stuff.
It's been 5 years now, and beautiful 5 years.
Alma,
I'm lucky that I had two
Alma, you come
good
and sit
women
where
in
I
my
am,
lifetime. It's
We
something
can take
that,
a picture of you and Jay together.
Okay.
Does anybody have any more questions for him? I think it's great.
When did you move down? You
to
moved-
here.
Did you move from the mountain to here?
No, to get the kids to school, we bought some property on Bundy Hollow. It's the old
Bowman? Was it?
West Bowman place, yeah, and that's where we lived, and that's what I also sold to Jerry, and he lives there now. And I moved from there into here with Alma.
Oh, so you haven't been here very long then?
Just 5 years is all.
Just, okay.
Just been a city dude for 5 years.
It's kind of quiet and nice, isn't it? You know?
I really enjoyed it. This has been a great big boost to me. There's 2 lots here, and there's been plenty to do, and I haven't missed the farm. I really haven't. It's
That's
unusual,
wonderful. That's wonderful.
but I haven't missed it.
So you saw the farming change.
All from
Equipment.
from horses
Yeah.
on up through.
You had horses, not mules.
We had about 50-50 on
Oh.
our farm work. We had about half mules and half horses, and the mules were better to work really than the horses were. They
Did you have your folks have a stationary outfit, or did they hire?
when I was just a young fella, Dad and George Harding was in together on a stationary outfit, but I only remember it for about 2 or 3 years, and then they broke it up. And later years, well, I bought a combine of my own and done my own threshing on later years. And
They're getting started real good right now too with the wheat harvest.
Are they up?
yep,
I was
we're
gonna,
gonna miss the cannery.
Right.
That's,
Did you raise peas?
Yeah, he said.
we rented to the cannery and the on the peas. And we didn't raise them ourselves. No. We rented our land to the cannery, and then they did all the management of it.
You saw a lot of difference in the wheat, the varieties and the yields, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Through the years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot higher. When you started, I don't know, 30 bushels an acre? Do you remember? No.
When I started on the ranch up there, it was run down pretty bad. Just horse farming, they couldn't do a too good job. They couldn't handle the straw good and one thing and another, and so the property was run down. And I taken the chore of building it back up, and when it's right on the edge of the timberline, it's now grass, hay, and cattle, and that's where it should have been all the time. Was these small plots. There was only 250 acres of farmland, and the rest of it was pasture, rough land.
So what farm are you talking about?
What time?
What farm? Was
Oh.
that your dad's farm?
The one on Jasper Mountain, Mount Pleasant.
Did you have brothers and sisters? Did you talk about that?
One sister.
One sister.
One sister, and she just passed away 3 years ago, I guess it was.
no, we married 5. She wasn't alive when we were married.
Oh, is that right?
We've been married 5.
Okay, yeah, okay.
She wasn't alive.
She
then.
was gone before we got married.
7,
Okay, I
maybe
didn't.
7 years. I don't know.
Old age memory.
7, I would imagine.
We all have it.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Ruth.
That's her last name.
And her married name?
Married name Hatfield.
Oh, yes, you told me that.
Yes, she told you that.
Yeah.
She was married to Dale Hatfield.
Are we
And he
finished?
would have been Phyllis's brother.
Brothers and sisters kind of married someday.
There's one instance of where
Double
we have double
cousins?
cousins,
Double
in the
cousins.
family.
Wow.
Right.
One double cousin.
That's all I have for Jay right now. Thank you, Jay, for
You're
being
entirely
with
welcome.
us
Ed.
and
Should we
giving
clap?
us, giving us hope for the future.
Thank you. Very nice.
Well, you're entirely welcome.